up real quick.
I do too.
So we are live. Hello, everybody.
Hi. We are not prepared.
We are
We
prepared. We just don't have everything open because
I mean, I can
the
tell you a quick
infatuated
side story while you look for things.
Dennis.
Do you like side? Oh, I'm always worried.
I don't know.
It
Go
relates
for
to
it,
what you
Dennis.
guys literally were just talking about.
He is a
in
botch
terms
boy.
of-
Can we
I'm
trust
not-
him?
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Okay.
I figure this is a PG-13 audience, so
Yes.
Yeah.
I try not to say the F word. Some days I do.
When somebody
Oh,
from
okay.
Botch says it's not that bad, that's
it's not that bad. So you saying not ready or whatever reminded me of when I went to Costa Rica back in 2016. We went up on a tour up Mount Arenal, I think it was, which is the active volcano that's down there, and it wasn't active at the moment, anyways. But so we go up there and
Testing
you zip
date.
line down, and then there's a spot where you do what's called the Tarzan swing, where you get up in this stand, whatever you want to call it, and then they harness you in, and then they open the gates, and then you drop and swing out over nothingness. Like there is nothing for hundreds and hundreds of feet below you once you go out over the edge.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah. So the one person gets up in there and they're attaching all of her stuff. They're like, "All right, you good to go?" She's like, "Yeah." And then as they're pushing her, they're like, No, wait!" So she just starts screaming as she like falls out of the tree stand, and she's fine. They were just messing with her. But
That's awesome.
Good.
I'd like to
told you,
apologize for Charles's language.
All right, here we go.
Oh, is it music time, Charles?
Yes, Tyra, it is. All right, we're good now. Okay, wait.
I needed whiskey and I got unsweet tea.
I could use some whiskey.
I have tea, but it
That's
does
what I
have
got.
alcohol in it.
Damn. It's bad
Well,
when the
I
guest is
can't
better
drink too
prepared.
much of this right now, anyways, because I had 7 of these the other night.
All right,
my brother was
you're
in
gonna hear them
town.
on the stream. I'm muting them for the podcast.
I
Here we
had
go.
a bad time.
Are you tired of being awesome alone? Well, so was I. So I brought Tyra Burton in. Tonight we're going to talk about kickstarting money, money, money with Dennis Robinson. Let's go be awesome together.
Ow. I can't hear now.
What?
I'm old, Charles. I don't have a lot of hearing left.
What'd you say, Charles?
I know. Get off
Hey,
my lawn.
you guys are left to the whatever happens in your ears when I'm trying to start the show.
What?
What? Charles, this seems unfair.
Why? Why is this unfair? You know how we start the show every time. And tonight we are going to kickstart this show right by
Kick the
demystifying.
tires. Kick the tires.
Oh, we're going to demystify all the Kickstart stuff.
Oh, boy.
And Dennis is going to tell us all how to become fully funded millionaires with our projects on Kickstarter.
Can I tell myself how to do that? I'd like
Yeah,
to know how
man.
to do that.
Look, fake it for us, okay? You're our guest.
Oh, okay. Yes.
We told people you weren't experts. Don't make us liars.
I'm an expert, but that doesn't mean I'm a millionaire. There are levels. Okay.
I
to
mean,
this
we're not
thing.
asking for Brandon Sanderson, okay?
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, we did. He turned us down, so we called
Now
you.
that tracks, especially if
Yeah.
Charles asked.
I actually never have, I haven't reached out to him. Who knows?
We'll talk about something after. So, hey, Shelf Watch, Tyra.
Oh, shelf watch. Oh, hang on. Got to put my finger in there. Right. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. Oh, good. It's just me. Or did you
There
just
go.
kick?
I just showed you. No, everybody's still here.
Here is the big shelf watch. I would like to say that the rest of the office is much cleaner than it was for the past 2 weeks. So we are getting there, and I have too much yarn.
So, Dennis, without knowing any history of what that is, would you bet yes or no that shelf will be completed by Dragon Con?
No.
That's fair. You might
From
win
what I
that
know
bet.
of Tyra, which is limited.
No, it's not me. It's not me.
Sure.
Not me. It's my husband.
I was going to say, you were going to blame your husband. Yep.
I am not the woodcrafter in this family. I am the podcaster. We have our
So you're
roles.
building a shelf, like literally building a shelf.
Yes, and it's in my garage.
Okay. I'm going
And
to
there's
guess
going to
no.
be side.
Which is not where the shelf is, by the way.
No, and he's got to put the shelf together. I've got brackets laying. I got a tool. He left the toolbox in here. so that he bought tools to make the shelf because he's got to join it and do this stuff. So I think it's just an excuse to go to Home Depot at this point.
Yeah.
But no, it won't be this weekend because we are taking a trip with the Fabers, and it won't be next weekend because I will be in Charlotte. And yeah, I wouldn't bet on Dragon Con either. Anyway, nice to talk to you too.
So what metaphorical positive thing is sitting on your shelf tonight, Tyra? What's happened good for you?
What's happened good for me? Oh, darn it. It's downstairs. I am still in love with my scribe.
Nice.
I've written 4,000 words on that thing. No, 5,000 words since I got it. I'm up at 27,000 plus, probably around 29 right now. So I am booking along in my book because I got to do something because Mama wants to retire.
I hear
Dennis,
Yes.
what you got positive going on in your week?
So I don't know about this week, but last week, my brother, who I usually only see once or twice a year, drove down for the Gettysburg Bike Week. So he stayed with me between Wednesday and he left Sunday. So got to see him for 6 days, which was why I was so terribly intoxicated on Saturday night because we drank till 2 a.m. And then Dennis was a sad panda for 2 straight days.
Oh, no. Do you get hangovers?
Not normally. Did that day and Monday. I was still feeling on Monday.
Blame it on the brother.
That's
Earth.
what I do.
And we must say, hi, Earth Station. Boo.
Must we?
Yes, we must.
I mean, it sounds like a must.
Well, I'm
Hello,
glad you got
Earth
to see your brother.
Station.
Thank you.
So, Charles, what's positive in your life?
You know what? I had some surprise communications this week since the last show in a great positive way. One of them was a friend of mine who I'm doing some consulting with, and we're building some cool stuff to hopefully start next week. Yeah. Going. And she called me at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I'm not answering your call. And it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Have you met me? and thought I just didn't put on my do not disturb or whatever.
But that had to be the middle of the night for her because she's on California time.
No, this is a different project. This is a different project. So this lady's local to Atlanta. And so I get up about an hour later, and there's a text like, hey, can you take this transport for me? I'll pay you. And I was like, and I actually already had plans that day. And I'm proud of myself because I had to think about why I should back out of my plan. And they weren't like fun plans. It was like very low pay, very, okay not to go kind of plans. But I'd said I'd be there and do it. And I was like, I reached out to that guy. I was like, hey, man, this one's like, it's a lot. They're offering me a decent chunk of income here. So I went and did that. It was a lot of fun. And I got to be head medic in charge. And then another random contact came through. And because of them, I've started playing with DaVinci Resolve for editing videos. It's really nice. It's really fun. It's free. And in the free version, you can get a plug-in that you pay for the plug-in. But it's called AutoCut, which helps me find places to put in B-roll. Now, it's supposed to do some editing and stuff for you. I don't really use it for that. But we're going to talk more about both of those in 2 weeks when we get to part 2 of the apps and softwares that make your life better. And I will talk about that and what B-roll is and everything else and how it saved me a lot of hours knocking some stuff out. So that's been cool and fun.
But Charles?
Yes.
This is when I remind Charles that we have a private chat.
Okay, and?
Ooh, multicolored something I can't see because I'm not on Twitch because Charles hasn't given me the code.
I'm in the middle of a show.
People.
Why would I be looking up codes and emails when I'm doing a professional show, Tyra?
Because we have nobody on there to stop trolls.
Okay. Let the trolls subscribe and like. We need more
Trolls
likes
got to
and
eat
follows.
too, you know?
Yeah.
This operation that I work with. Okay.
And Earth Station Boo is not a troll. She just types a lot, okay?
No, Charles. Bad Charles. Bad. Bad. Anyway.
And it's cut off, so I got to
I know. See, if I had the Twitch, I could tell.
Multicolored mind. There it is.
Ooh.
I
like
love
that.
Resolve. I am actually really, really.
You like it?
getting
Would
to
I like it? Is the question.
I haven't used it. No, absolutely. Actually, I've only used it for like one video. I can tell you. No, you gotta. I mean, there's a lot of tools and there's a lot of tabs and
No.
cutting and taking a look. No,
No.
you might like AutoCut if you were trying to just do a video that didn't have to be perfect. You could hit a lot of AI buttons, but
I'll
yeah,
stick
no.
with that Instagram edits. I liked it.
Yeah, no, this is like production video level
I don't need
software.
that.
No.
I need to hire people to do that, but I have no money. Which reminds me, if you need a marketing consultant, hi, my name is Tyra Burton, and I'm in the market.
Hey, if you need a digital media consultant, hey, I got a podcast and I'm in the market. If
Don't
you
hire
need,
Charles. Whatever you do.
if you need a vasectomy consultant, we got Dennis Robinson, the world's
It's
most
true.
advanced
I can
DM.
tell you all about that.
Somebody just played Peggle and won. What's up with that?
Not me.
That was me. My sister is determined to find out what type of bagels I want. I don't know when she's bringing me bagels, but she's asking.
All right, I'm gonna try to forward you this text with a code so you can have it. Okay. Okay. All right.
Thanks,
So Dennis.
Charles.
Yes.
Tyra, you start asking Dennis some questions about why he's here tonight, and I'll
Oh,
send this to you.
You know what? I also have the question of why I'm here tonight. Like, why do I put up with Charles McFall? That is my question. on a
Because of
daily
me.
basis.
Because
fair.
I
I'm here
pay
mostly
you.
for Tyra.
Constantly pay you every year for the rights to promote your comic book, Lycan, It's All in Zoology, which you'd also hear us talk about semi-weekly-ish on Like and Subscribe, LYCAN.
I like that. I also like the like and subscribe. That's it. That's it.
That was Charles. I gotta give him the thing.
Damn,
I
every
hate
now
giving
and
him
then.
credit for anything.
I hate that
those
we
names.
actually ran with it, too, because I was just being an ass about it.
No,
Woo!
I like
won
puns.
the lottery again. Ching.
He also named this podcast too.
That's right. So,
That seems
all right,
like-
Dennis. So
Yes.
like and subscribe.
Hold it. No. First
What?
off, who
Okay.
is Dennis?
He's
That's an
Dennis. You've
existential
met him
question, isn't it?
before.
I
He's
know
right
who
there.
Dennis is, but what if our audience doesn't know who Dennis is?
Oh.
They're
I don't
better
know
off
how
for
much
it.
he gets.
Yeah, that's
along.
true. You're better off if you just just shut off this part. Like, just mute for the next like minute or two, and then come back, and you'll be fine. It's best not to know. So I am Dennis. That is me. I am he. Otherwise known as the world's most okayest DM. I'm one of the people who do Botched, a D&D podcast. I'm part of the DC digital media track since, 2018, I guess we've been going? I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And love doing panels for digital media, and I also dabble in a few other places. I'll probably find out about some random panels that have been thrown on when I pick up my badge.
We
on
love
Thursday.
that.
No, you'll get an
Yep.
email. You'll get an email.
That's true.
Oh, no.
First week of August.
No.
Yeah.
The last year, the comic book track did not have theirs on that email. I found out when I picked up my badge.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know, life is about surprises.
Oh yeah.
Look.
That track, I've also done my own audio, like whatever for like I've checked the mics and had to like turn on things and fix a speaker and all that other stuff.
I'm Dennis.
It
I had to
made-
do
Just
some
saying,
work.
that
makes-
track is not exactly, the most organized.
We're just saying it makes you appreciate the digital media track.
Exactly. Oh yeah, I tell everybody all the time. Digital media track, hands down, best track in terms of having their crap together.
How many
Like-
panels this year, Charles?
76
Nice.
currently.
Nobody tops us.
Oh really?
That
You have the most
sounds
panels?
so
of anybody?
bad.
I think so.
Yes.
Now we don't have the biggest attendance, and that's the difference. But we do, I
Yeah,
think,
darn
some of
it.
the most. We're definitely top. We're up there with the most panels.
Yeah, Maine has
Okay.
more, but only slightly.
Okay. But yeah, so I'm part of Botched a D&D podcast, and next year, sadly, will be our 10th year doing that show, which makes me very sad to think that I wasted 10 whole years of my life with those three assholes. But it is what it
That
is.
doesn't sound
That's not
very
really-
nice.
Really, there's only been two that have stuck through. the
Yes, there's
entire-
two constant pains in my butt for the entirety of the
Yeah.
10 years. The other ones come and go, but there's always those two constants. My hetero life partner, Phil, and then Tristan, who I've known since elementary school.
Oh.
So
That's
Yeah.
a long time.
I know. But yeah, so if you don't know what Botched is, it's an improv comedy show draped in the loose skin of Dungeons and Dragons with a little bit of drinking involved, typically. And we do not take ourselves particularly seriously. Usually every season's a totally different setting. Though the last 2 seasons we did SCP, which Charles actually guested on the season finale, which has not come out yet. But next season, since it's our 10th year, we decided to go back to the fantasy roots. So we'll be kicking that off at DragonCon yet again in the Crystal Ballroom on Sunday at 10 p.m. as we are off to do.
I love me some role-playing games.
Yeah. And I also, for what I'm here for, I am the writer-creator of Lycan Solomon's Odyssey. It is an award-winning graphic novel series about the world's first werewolf.
There had to be the one.
There had to be the one. That's right. It's actually Highlander meets the Wolfman, so it's pretty cool.
We'll take that.
And tell her the best part.
Oh, there's a best
Charles dies in almost every book.
Yes.
Almost every book.
part. But okay, so does he reincarnate and then dies
No,
in the next one?
So I'm sure we'll get into
It's
this with the
just
Kickstarter
generations
part.
after generation.
There
Yeah, we'll
is
talk
a tier that we do where you can die in the next book. And so Charles always backs at that tier, so his likeness dies in each book horribly, and then he gets like a little 11x17 print of his death page that he gets to keep.
What
about
is
it. And
the
the only reason I'm not in the first book
We
is
didn't do
because
it.
he'd already written the first book
Yeah,
before
it's
he did
already
the
done.
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I
But
still
if we
think
ever
you
go
can
back and make
just-
edits, we could always edit him into it to
There
kill
you
him.
go.
Hey, it could be the forgotten scene.
That's right.
You know,
Just randomly, it just cuts to Charles getting killed and then back to normal. It's like,
it could be your email lead.
it's true.
You know, do you have an email newsletter?
Oh, yeah. We've got almost 600 people on it.
That's
Really?
awesome. We're going to talk about that too.
All right.
But let's talk about this thing that we're here for, Kickstarter.
Okay.
Why did you choose Kickstarter?
So Kickstarter, at the time anyways, was the crowdfunding platform that I'd heard the most about. And unlike other crowdfunding platforms like, what's the one that everyone uses for like medical bills?
Indiegogo?
No, it's not Indiegogo.
GoFundMe.
It's GoFundMe.
Funny.
GoFundMe, you don't actually get anything for. You're just sort of donating money. Whereas Kickstarter, you can only use it if you're creating something. And in theory, if you donate money, you get stuff back, in theory. I say in theory because there are some times where people will have a project, it'll be successful, and then they just won't ever do anything with it. There are a number of stories with that.
That
where
is true.
There's some
People
very
just-
infamous stories with that.
Oh, yes. Oh, I could
Yeah.
tell you quite a few. I've gotten burned a couple times myself by that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm super picky. I got burned too, though. I just realized that. Never mind. Moving on.
Yep. Well, and then other times you'll back a Kickstarter, and then like 3-4 years later, it'll just randomly show up on your door, and you're like, "What is this? I don't even remember this."
Like, I don't remember, but at least they finally got around to it.
yeah, exactly. So it just depends. But yeah, so I chose Kickstarter because of that reason. Where, you know, I'm creating a comic book. I wanted to basically sell it to people, but also be able to reach an audience that I wouldn't normally have access to. And Kickstarter has a really, really big audience. There are
true.
people who literally just peruse through Kickstarter to back stuff that have no idea who you are or never backed stuff before. And typically every Kickstarter I end up getting somewhere between 30 to 50 people who had never backed before
Ooh.
or had never heard of the series before. So that's always fun. But yeah, so that's why I went with Kickstarter in the first place. And there have been a lot of programs or, you know, websites, whatever you want to call them, that have come out since then, like Indiegogo and whatnot. Even BackerKit, which we could talk about too if you want.
Oh,
But
Oh, yeah.
because BackerKit originally was just designed to work around Kickstarter and or Indiegogo, where you could do the I think it's the pre-campaign and then the post-campaign, and it's like $100 for either one of those services. I, for instance, used the pre last year. I'm going to use it again this year because it was very helpful. But since then, they've started their own crowdfunding version, which they've tried to then get people onto it. And I'm like, I'm fine with the Kickstarter. I don't want to then switch over to something else and have to deal with all that. But
Right.
go with what I know, essentially.
So Backender or whatever you called it is
BackerKit.
That's
BackerKit.
it. Yeah, that's what I said. And so that's an add-on that you pay separately, like a third party.
Yeah, it's a third party.
So what did they do?
Well, so for the instance, your pre-launch, what it does, you basically attach your Kickstarter account to it, and it'll help you basically generate an email schedule like before it'll give you a schedule of like, hey, this far out, send this email, and it'll give you like a basic idea of what to write. You could tweak it and change it however you want. And then it'll say like a month before, a week before, the day of, and so on and so forth. And it'll give you emails to send throughout the Kickstarter as well. That's the whole pre-launch one. The nice thing about it is once it's attached, it basically sends an email to every single person who's backed any of your Kickstarters. So for instance, I have 3 already done. So basically, if I write an email, it'll send it to everybody who's backed any of those 3 Kickstarters. If somebody backs the 4th Kickstarter from that list, it will remove them from future emails. So it won't bug them again about it, which is nice.
Oh, that's nice.
And it gives you lots of stats in terms of, who opened it, who clicked on it, who backed. And then it'll tell you exactly who opened it and clicked on it and backed.
Yes.
So then I know who I can bug if it's somebody I know personally. I'm like, hey, see you open that email.
Yeah.
Get on that.
Why haven't you click that link? Yeah.
Am I the worst culprit for not opening any of the emails but still backing?
Probably.
You should open the emails because an increased open rate on email newsletters actually helps them be delivered more.
And now that's a question. We got a question in the chat we're going to bring up here, but is this considered a newsletter? Because it sounds like they're going through Kickstarter, so it wouldn't be like setting up MailChimp or something else. Yeah?
MailChimp is a separate thing, but I did also link my newsletter list to it. So then it was pulling all the contacts between everything, but not having duplicates, if that makes sense.
Nope, it does.
But BackerKit itself it's
its own thing.
So it is sending it out as a newsletter.
Yeah, well, we're talking real short, like a paragraph with a piece of text and a link.
I have actually opened 1 or 2. I understand how sparse.
Oh, okay, sure,
so,
Charles.
Here's a question. Sorry, I probably should not ask this question because I don't know if you'll know the answer. Fine. Legally, to email somebody like that, you need to have permission, particularly in the EU. Do they say that? Do they say, hey, email me when they sign up for the Kickstarter? Is that built into there?
I don't know, since typically with Kickstarter, they have to use their email to sign up for it. So that way Kickstarter can get in touch with them. So I don't know if that's sort of like a backdoor, hey, you signed up for this Kickstarter, therefore you can get alerts for this Kickstarter. I don't know. Because again, it would be the same thing as if I put out an update on each of the old Kickstarters and then it just sent it to everybody.
Okay.
Whereas this is like a one-stop
shop.
shop.
Send it independently or if it sent it through Kickstarter.
It sends it independently. It doesn't send it through Kickstarter.
And even
it just pulls the information from Kickstarter.
So when you send an email out through Kickstarter, it's still coming from your email address. Is that correct?
So
like when you're contacting the people who's backed you.
Sure. So when you're sending something through Kickstarter, no, I believe it goes via Kickstarter itself.
I should look. It's not.
It will. Like if someone responds to it, it will go back to my email.
Right.
But typically when you message somebody through Kickstarter, it's like in a chat that they have. So there's like 2 different ways to message people in Kickstarter. You can do an update, which is just a broad, like just puts a thing out if someone notices it.
Kind of like a post, yeah.
It's like a post. Or you can individually message people. So for instance, if somebody backs on Kickstarter and then their card bounces when they go to collect that money, they have 1 week to fix it. If they don't fix it within that 1 week, then they are therefore kicked out and cannot ever, be put back into, they can't ever pay for the Kickstarter essentially. So at that time, usually I'll also send a message out. Like I'll try to direct message people and be like, hey, just reaching out because, the card bounce, I want to let you know in case you wanted to fix that in order to actually back the Kickstarter. The last one I didn't have that issue. The first 2 Kickstarters I did have that issue. The first one I did actually had a $1,000 backer who didn't end up paying.
Oh.
I feel that one was a bit scammy because he had so many Kickstarters backed that I'm like, does it still count as a backed Kickstarter if he never actually pays for it? And nobody could answer that question in Kickstarter. So I was like, okay. So I don't know. I don't know what that's about.
So you may have answered a part of this question, but Multicolored Mind says, so how do you even do a mailing list? That's definitely something I need to do. Now, I'd ask you specifically in the vein of like back in during Kickstarter and all that. But you said you have a mailing list also. So,
Yeah, so I use MailChimp. Essentially, you just make an account. There are tiers based on how many people you have in your email list. So the free tier, I think it's like you can basically interact with 500 people a month. Now that is tricksy because if you have 100 people, you can send 4 emails a month because then it's counting it as 400 people. But the moment it trips over into 500, it then locks you out for the rest of the month and says, nah, you can't send anymore unless you upgrade to the paid version. And it's not like an insane amount of money. I think the version that I'm at, it's like $14 a month or something like that, which isn't like insane, but it's, it's a little annoying cost that pops up, every month. But
So you're correct. 500. The number of contacts is 500, and you can do a max of 1,000 emails a month or 500 a day, whichever is greater.
Okay. So that's what happened to me. I was on the free version for quite a while. And then, I build up the names while I'm at conventions or through Kickstarter. Because when I do the Kickstarter, I'll put out a survey at the end of it. And one of the survey questions is, hey, would you like to sign up for the newsletter? And the answers are either yes, no, I'm already signed up, or, whatever. And if they say yes, I will then manually go into MailChimp and I will add their names to the newsletter list. And then it'll send it their way. If I'm at a convention, I have an iPad that just has the MailChimp sign up sheet that I refresh, and I hand it to them. They sign up, and it'll automatically send their email, the welcome email that I typed up, which is basically a picture of me and Yoshi when she was a puppy. It's like the best way to ingratiate myself to anybody is puppy pictures.
Puppy pictures every time.
But yeah, so that's basically the it's pretty easy to set it up because for the cheaper versions, the free or otherwise, there's only so many email designs you could do anyway. And I get a lot of compliments about the newsletter. I don't always know if people are reading them, but I do find out that they are eventually. Like when I went to a con and like 8 people came up to me and they're like, hey, are you feeling invisible at this convention? Because that's what I had just put out in the newsletter like the day before. So I'm like, okay, so people are reading it. They just don't, respond to it or anything like that. Sometimes they do, depending on what it is. But when I do the newsletter, it's stories from the road, stories from conventions, and I'll have pictures of cool cosplay and stuff like that. And then I'll do book updates, and then usually it's like a life update of some sort. And then I always have at least one picture of Yoshi, as I promise to everybody, because a lot of times the joke I make is most people sign up for the dog. Because they're like, I don't know about a newsletter. Yeah. I'm like, I got pictures of my dog in it. And they're like, all right, I'll sign up for the newsletter. And then,
that'll get you every time. I mean, Dobby is a gateway drug for me. My dog's name is Dobby. In case. So.
Mine's Yoshi.
I just found out I have one person signed up for my newsletter. I'm kind of excited.
Oh, nice.
It could also be me, but I'm not sure.
Well, you never know. But I find with that, at least the newsletter, consistency. I don't do it every single week, but I do it after every show or something major happens, something like that, just to keep people interested and informed about what's going on. At DragonCon last year, we did a panel. Steven Adams was running it. It was like building community, and he named the newsletter as being like his favorite newsletter, and it's like the only one that he reads. And he brought it up so that I could talk about it on the panel. And I do get that a lot where, a lot of times people won't read it because it's a newsletter and people don't care. But other times, I do put a lot of information in there where it's like personal stuff and, just funny or weird stuff that's happening while I'm at shows. And people seem to enjoy it.
It doesn't talk about me, so I don't read it.
We talk about you enough, Charles.
Charles, we're good.
Now I will say we're gonna have Tyra, we're gonna have Bob Magoo on in a couple of weeks. I think before DragonCon. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, I'll ask him.
Yeah, we'll find out. And to talk about newsletters, he also has a big newsletter thing. He uses Light. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there's a couple of them out there. Yeah. I think he did use the MailChimp for a while, but
MailChimp has some issues. But MailerLite is free up to 1,000 subscribers.
Okay.
With 12,000 monthly emails. So it's got a little bit more squish room in there.
Okay.
So.
That's a lot of emails.
That is a lot of emails.
Yeah, nobody should be doing that. Okay? Nobody. Just saying. You can sign up for my newsletter at tyraburton.com. Thank you.
Suppose if you, because like literally every show, I'll get a few more signed up, and
It's
usually I
true.
don't have that many fall off. So eventually, it'll be up to 1,000, or
It's
if
gonna
somehow
happen.
the book pops off, could have a whole crap ton of people on the newsletter. You never know.
And then there'll be more to pay.
And then there'll be more to pay. Yeah, I'll have to pay more then. Yeah.
How many Kickstarters have you
Oh, that's
done?
a good one.
I have done 3 Kickstarters, with the 4th currently planned and set to start on November 1st. The page is already set up
Oh.
and to go. The advertising link is already up. It's in my link tree, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But
We will.
likeandbook.com is the easy redirect that'll take you to the sign up page, where basically it'll give you a little description of what the book's about. A little bit of it'll have the cover image on there as well. And then you could just click it to sign up to be reminded when it goes live.
I'm going to get a tiny URL so we can share that and not scare people.
Sure thing.
So, you did a lot of research for your first one. Like,
I do
did
a
you
lot of
pay-
reading for every one of them.
Well, but didn't you like pay for courses on what to do? And
No.
No. What all did you go through to figure out your first Kickstarter?
So the first
I
Kickstarter
thought
I
you
did,
did pay for courses and whatnot.
I didn't. I took a free course that Comics Launch offers. You can pay after the free course. It's one of those. I don't know how many times you guys have ever done this, where it's like a free course and they pretend as though it's live,
It's
but
a
you know
leader.
full well it's not live.
Yeah.
They'll message you after the fact, like when you put a comment in, like somebody will message you like a day later or something like that. And I've actually talked to that guy quite a few times, and I've been on his podcast a couple of times as well, I believe. Super nice guy. So even that intro course did have a lot of information. It was the paid version gets you like his Rolodex of contacts at magazines and newspapers and whatnot, and other publications to like get the word out and whatnot.
Nice.
And while that is tempting to me,
Eh.
it's fine. I do enough boots on the ground stuff that I'm like, I don't need to send another 1,000 emails out or whatever.
You're like,
But,
whatever.
Yeah. And then one of our patrons, Big Jim, he sent me, or he shared with me, a book that was written by Greg Pak. It's called Kickstarter Secrets. Greg Pak, up until I believe Keanu Reeves did his Kickstarter, was the most successful comic book Kickstarter person that existed. Like he did like Code Monkey Saves the World. And so like all of his Kickstarters were absolutely insane. For that was like the benchmark for a long time. So then he wrote a book called Kickstarter Secrets, and so Big Jim shared a PDF with me for that, and it's filled with tons of good information. Even if you're not even kickstarting a comic book, there's a ton of really good information in that, especially if you're doing your first ever Kickstarter. And that's where I got a lot of my information. But other than that, the one thing that I would do for the first Kickstarter that I still do even today is I will go and look at a bunch of other Kickstarters that are currently live, and I will write down ideas of things that I like or don't like, and sort of Frankenstein things together or tweak it and change it to make it my own. I do that a lot to get an idea of like reward tiers or stretch goals and things like that. So it's a lot of research typically. And I usually start planning my Kickstarter like a year out typically. So I spend a lot of time planning it. Charles put me in touch with somebody who was like, what did he do? What did he say? He only did like a month?
Yeah.
And I was like, what? No.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
He did it in a month, but he had such low goals that he
Yeah, it was fine for him.
Yeah.
And then so a lot of times I will sing the praises of doing a Kickstarter if you're like a small independent creator. When I go to shows, like, they could just be a regular writer or a comic book writer or whatever it is. And some of the people that I've talked to have decided to, pursue the Kickstarter avenue. And I even shared with them the same PDF that was given to me. And they've had successful Kickstarters, which is cool. But there was one guy who I used to talk to all the time at shows. I don't really see him too much anymore, but the first couple years of doing shows, I would run into him and I would talk about Kickstarter. His wife's a writer. And he's like, you know what, Dennis, you've convinced me. I'm gonna do a Kickstarter. I was like, cool. And then I got home and I got an email notification. Such and
Oh,
such
no.
has launched a Kickstarter. And I was like, no, what are you doing?
Oh.
He
Back
just-
that puppy up.
He just went home and launched it. And so he had no rewards, really. He had no
Oh.
stretch goals. There was no video. There were no pictures. It was just a little bit of
Just
text
there.
and like the
I-
reward of the book and a bookmark. And it was like, that was it. And he couldn't figure out why nobody backed. And I was like, buddy, you need to do a
believe
little more planning.
I can't believe they approved it.
Yeah, they're pretty easy to get past.
they?
I feel
Okay.
like, yeah, as long as you got something, I feel like you could get through. Because
But
with
he had
Kickstarter, if you are successful,
Right.
cool. If you're not successful, well, no harm, no foul, essentially.
Right.
Because nobody gets charged. Because with Kickstarter, it throws a lot of people, especially backers, where you don't get charged right away. Like,
Yeah.
let's say I launch a Kickstarter on November 1st, and Charles, he doesn't, but let's say he backs on the first day. And so
Well, I usually have to save up my money. I wait. Yeah.
this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So he's like, I got to save up my money. So I
Yes.
back it on the 15th day, except he's still not getting charged until the 30th day when the
Right.
Kickstarter ends. Because the moment it ends, that's when
Yeah.
Kickstarter charges all the cards. So that's something I usually end up having to tell people because they'll be like, oh, I got to wait for my paycheck this week. And I'm like, well, you better make sure you're waiting for your paycheck
Yeah.
at the end of the Kickstarter because that's when it's going to take it out of there.
Yeah.
So
True. Except for the postage. And then that comes out at a later date.
not necessarily.
Oh,
No.
How do you fix that?
I just backed one that I had.
So people do it different ways. So I typically have the postage included in
in your,
when you back at a particular reward. There's pros and cons to that. The pro is you're seeing
Ooh.
exactly what you're going to pay up front. The con is it kind of makes your reward or your goal
yeah.
wonky because money that's going towards that goal is actually shipping money, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Like
yeah.
if you paid for the $30 goal and it's got like $7 of shipping, as far as Kickstarter is concerned, you now have $37 towards your goal, which is not really true,
Right.
but it is what it is. The other part of that, the other con is, which I found out, if you're not actually shipping those things out super close to when it ends, well, shipping can go up.
Yes.
So my Kickstarter ended last year in March, and then I shipped in December.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And the shipping costs
Yeah.
went way up in
Way
some
up.
cases. So, for instance, like the domestic shipping went up by like $1 or $2 per, which doesn't sound like
it's
a lot. But when you have like 200 backers, it kind of adds up pretty quick. The worst, though, was the international shipping, because international shipping, by and large, was almost always around $30.
Mm-hmm.
This time, it was like $50 for some places. So then I'm paying $20 extra for some time.
Oh.
And then one of the other bad things, not about this, but this is just in general with international shipping, is they'll have a VAT tax, a value added tax.
Yep.
And there's nothing you can do about it. You don't control it. You can't see it. You can't pay for it. When they get the item, they have to pay that fee. And then a lot of times they'll get mad at me. And I'm like, well, I can't do anything about it.
Not my fault you live there.
I mean,
Yeah.
you literally can't do anything.
I
about
can't
it.
do anything. I even talked to the post office. They're like, there's nothing you can do about it. So for the next Kickstarter, I'm going to put it in the actual description. Like, hey, if you live outside the country, you may have a value added tax or a VAT. That is not I have no control over that. That is on you. I apologize, but it is what it is.
I have a friend in Portugal. I do not mail her presents
Yeah.
because she will pay more in VAT than I pay to get the present.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, but
It's crazy.
Yep.
I had questions and my brain just died.
okay.
I did not get my second coffee today. I'm just gonna put that out there. So, what do you do how long do you take to prepare your Kickstarter? Because obviously, it's more than 12 hours that man took.
Yeah, no, I start planning a year out.
A year out.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what
I-
happens in that year?
So in that year, there's a few things that so when the year kicks in, I basically start thinking about rewards. Like, what did I offer in this one?
Okay.
What can I offer in the next one in terms of what am I going to keep the same and which ones can I change up? So for instance, Charles always backs at the I'm going to kill you tier. So he gets the jersey, he gets to die in the next book. That I keep every single Kickstarter because it's nice, and then it's a different jersey each time. So it's not even like you're getting the exact same thing each time anyways.
So that's the Death Personified tier?
Yes. Yep,
Okay.
it's that one.
I'm looking at your Kickstarter
I
right
don't know
now.
worries. And then some of the other, so for instance, in the last Kickstarter, I think it was a cute little package of terrors or something like that. I had a crochet werewolf. Well, I can't really have that as a reward in the next Kickstarter because if somebody backed at that tier last time, then they're just going to get the same reward again this time, and that doesn't feel
That's
like
no fun.
I'll have it as an add-on. So if somebody wants to add it to, their Kickstarter purchase, I'll then crochet them a werewolf.
Hold it. Are you crocheting the werewolf?
I'm crocheting the
He's
werewolf.
doing it now. He tells stuff because there were supply chain issues, we'll call them.
Well, so there was
set.
another vendor that I knew, and she was making the crochet stuff for me, but she's also a vendor. So she's already crocheting her own stuff.
Right.
So then it would just take a really long time for me to get that stuff. So I just taught myself how to crochet, and so now I can do crochet werewolves.
Oh, we need to have a crochet digital media night.
Okay. I'm slow.
I
I'm very
crochet
slow.
too. I'm fast. I'll make up for us.
Okay.
Okay, here's going back to the basics question.
I like a basic question.
How do you know you should do a Kickstarter?
That's a good question.
I would say if you are creating, if you're creating something, that's like your first checkbox. Like if you're not creating anything, then you shouldn't do a Kickstarter. Like if you're trying to do medical bills, like we talked before, don't bother. You'll never get through the door. But if you're creating something, especially if you're an indie creator that doesn't have like a studio backing you, or as I found out that one year at Dragon Con, the one guy had like some sort of millionaire backing them, and it was like a whole big hubbub. And I was like, why is there even a panel on this? No one's going to be able to follow in your footsteps. Like this is a waste of time.
No.
If you are an independent creator like myself, it's one of the best ways to do, like, to get your product out there. Like it could be, you could do Indiegogo if you want instead. Like, each one is good and they each function a little differently. So it's just personal preference. I just started with Kickstarter, and I have a tendency to be very stubborn with changing things. So once I start on something, I kind of keep going with it unless they do something that really agitates me. And they haven't done that yet. So I would say if you are creating something, if you are an independent person and you are trying to get the word out about it, Kickstarter is really good for that because you are now hitting a worldwide audience that now obviously not everybody who's on Kickstarter is going to see it, but you have the chance that anybody could see it. And one of the other things that I do during Kickstarters is cross promotion. So what I do is I will look up every other Kickstarter that's either comics or horror related that's live at the same time as me, and I will message them and I'll say, hey, would you like to do cross promotion, where on Kickstarter you can do updates. Like you'll put out an update and it'll just be on your page, and so I'll do an update and then I will literally shout out any of the projects that I've communicated with, and I'll have pictures and text and all this stuff. And that is a mixed bag because typically the amount of work that I put into that is not the amount of work that someone else puts into it in terms of like shouting my stuff out. But I'm fixing that this time around because last year somebody had a press packet. So they were like, hey, if you're doing cross promo, here's the text that I want you to put. Here's the pictures I want you to put. Easy peasy. And I'm like, great. That's what I'm going to do this time. I'm going to have a little press packet I can just give to them, be like, put that in your update and you're good to go.
I love a good press packet.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use it for so many things.
Oh, yeah.
You can put it on your website. You can use it to get interviews. It's press kits, people. We're going to talk about them sometime. So,
but I would say those are the main reasons why you'd pick Kickstarter. Obviously, you don't get to keep every penny of what you make because Kickstarter has to take some of theirs, and then Stripe has to take a little bit as well. So you lose about 8% of whatever you make. Yeah, it's not terrible.
Well, the 2.9% is credit card usually.
Yes.
So that's what they charge. Now they may charge you more than that. So anytime you go to a store and they're upcharging you 5 to 10%, they're lying to you and they're making money off of that.
Yeah, Kickstarter's like 5%, and
That's
then
not bad.
Stripe is like around 3%.
Okay, I that's reasonable to me.
Yeah.
Now, good.
I was going to ask. So to me, one of the things I always say is that to be successful in Kickstarter, you need to have some sort of base, whether that's a social media base, a friend, that you have friends that have social media influence, or there's something. So, because getting that word out is the key. And I hesitate to rely just on Kickstarter. So, what do you think somebody who's brand new, who's thinking, okay, this is my first real big project, I need Kickstarter to help fund the creation of it, the printing, the making, whatever. What is the baseline? What do they need to do to get that word out?
Well, there's a couple things. If you are launching your first Kickstarter, do not launch it with the intention that it's going to pay for product. Like, the best advice I can give is your product should be done before you do the Kickstarter. Like, for instance, with the comic book was done before I did the Kickstarter. And the reason for that, and that book that I mentioned, the Kickstarter Secrets, talks about it. If you don't have an audience, if you don't have a lot of experience, like you don't have any reason that people would necessarily trust you, they don't know you, have a finished product and be like, hey, you back this Kickstarter, you're getting it because it's right here, like I'm showing it to you, that sort of a thing. So especially if you're doing your first ever Kickstarter, doing it with the idea of, hey, here's like a general idea of what it's going to be, the Kickstarter is going to pay so that I can actually make it, is a tricky proposition, because a lot of times people won't back that because
the risk.
For instance, and I don't care if he knows or not, but Tristan on our show did that. He did a Kickstarter years ago, and he basically, it wasn't done yet. He just had proof of concept and he had some artwork done, and he was like, hey, this Kickstarter is going to pay for production, all this stuff. He did the Kickstarter, gave the money to his artist took it and ran. That was that.
No.
And so nobody got anything because the book never got even completed. So
that's frightening.
That's messed up.
I've had somebody do a Kickstarter and then he had a couple of deaths in the family. There were some major things that happened, and obviously Kickstarter was not the first thing on his mind. But I know that you have to be aware that there are risks and that somebody may have something that's totally not their fault, but then they're not able to deliver on the timeline or the tier that, like, I still don't have my song. You do Tears to Be Killed. I did one to get a song.
Oh, okay. Well, so typically what I would say, if anything, the best thing you could do if you're doing a Kickstarter is be transparent. And so, especially with the last Kickstarter I did, because the book wasn't finished, like it was mostly finished, but not all the way finished. Because the first two Kickstarters I did, the books were finished. So I was like, okay, I feel like I've built some goodwill. There's a lot I can share. It's just not all the way done yet. What I did was I did an update almost every week, like, hey, here's what these pages got finished. Here's what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. Because if you don't do updates, frequently, people will start to get itchy. And they'll be like, all right, is this another one of those instances where someone's going to take the money and bail? It's like, no, it's still working on. Or if you have something like, we had a death in the family, give me a little bit of time, things like that. People will understand. You just have to tell them. As long as you tell them, they're pretty okay with it. And one of the other things Kickstarter can do is, as a backer, you can request an update, because I'll get that sometimes, where it'll literally be a big banner right across the top of my screen. It'll say, hey, such and such has requested an update. Okay, well, I go over, type up an update. Here's the project update. Bop, 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 bop. And then people have that for a time being. But in terms of answering your question about what can you do, well, the first Kickstarter I did, and I have botched, but I don't know how much of that audience actually translates over to Kickstarter.
Right.
I did a lot of different things, and some of that I still do each Kickstarter. The first one I did, I researched every single podcast, like that is horror related or comic book related, and I messaged every single podcast. Some of them existed and some of them weren't even around anymore. And so I was just trying to get on shows like, hey, here's my book. Like, would you like to review it, or would you like to do an interview? Whatever. And I always offered them the free PDF because, they're doing a thing for me. And then with me having the show, I would offer to do cross promo for their show as well.
Oh, nice.
And so that was a way to get, some ears on it. Another thing that I did the first Kickstarter, I haven't done it again since, the residential neighborhood that I live in has 100 houses. I always get postcards made anyways. So I went door to door and put a postcard at every single door until I ran out of postcards.
That's
and I ended up getting like 2 or 3 backers that way.
Hey,
so, I mean,
it's 2 or 3 more than you had before.
Exactly. The first year I also did a something that I have not done since because it was a colossal waste of time. But I called every single comic book shop in the state of Pennsylvania, and you wouldn't think there's that many, but there's a lot of comic book shops in the state of Pennsylvania. And so, because I do a retail tier, where basically it's retail pricing, so you would get it for you. They would pay 50% of what the normal cost would be, and then they would get some other little extras, a poster with their store logo on it, et cetera, et cetera. And so I called every single comic book shop in Pennsylvania, and I had two. I have two that backed it from all those that I called. And one of them still backs it to this day. So, and I see him a lot. He's a good dude. And then I went to the local shop. And then, like I said, the little postcards, now that I do conventions, I hand them out in the bags because I always give out sleeves when people have prints or pictures that don't have a sleeve. I'm like, hey, would you like a free sleeve? And I'm like, cool. Here's my advertisement for my Kickstarter. There you go. Put that in there.
Smart man.
If you have a local newspaper, you can ask to see if they want to do an interview because half the time they're trying to find something to put on paper.
Right.
To talk about. And that I had that my first year. One of my buddies who worked for the newspaper did an interview with me. So there's lots of different ways you can get the word out there. And like I said, communicating with other Kickstarters, that's another really good way to do it. Now, you're not going to hear back from every Kickstarter, and if they're too big, they're not going to care anyways.
Right.
Like Coffin Comics, they don't do cross promotion. They're way too big. They do not care.
They're like, whatever.
Yeah. They have a whole team, but that one team member that's doing that stuff does not care. So they're not doing that. But most creators on there are totally cool doing cross promotion. And usually I end up backing their Kickstarter as well. If it's something that I actually like, I'll back it at a physical tier. If I don't actually care about it, I'll back it at a digital tier.
See, that still bugs my brain. It's like, but you're burning money.
Sure, but I'm still getting stuff. Plus, I like helping other people. You don't have to do it. I'm just saying that's what I do.
Right. I mean, it's karma in many ways. I mean, you've backed 100 projects, I think it said on here.
Yes.
You've backed a lot. It's done 4 successful
I've
each
backed
time.
Like 5.
Oh, I've backed more than 5, but not 100 for sure. So each year your percentage has gone up. How do you figure out, because I think this kind of goes to what Multicolored Mind was saying, how much of production do you expect to be covered by your Kickstarter goal? So how do you figure out what your goal should be? Because that's like, do you just pull that number out of your
Yes and no.
Oh,
so if you are somebody who can create everything yourself, so your production costs are lower, you can have it where it pays for a lot of your production costs. I don't have that because I am the cheapest person on my team. I'm the writer. So everything's very expensive. So I don't ever expect to make my cost back by doing a Kickstarter. It would be nice if I could break even, but so for instance, I tell this story. Whenever you set your Kickstarter goal, it should be something that you think you can attain.
right.
Don't make it so low, like $200, because it's like, it's too low.
Yeah.
It's too easy. You don't do that. But also don't set it some astronomical amount like $100,000. Like you're never going to hit that. Because if you don't hit your goal, then you don't get any money in the end anyways. Yeah. So you have to sort of look at it like, okay, what do I think I could realistically achieve? I think something like, if it's your first ever Kickstarter, if you don't have any audience whatsoever, I think around $1,000 is probably pretty reasonable, pretty attainable. Most people I see are usually around $2,000.
Okay.
I'll tell you this story. So there's this guy that I know. I won't say how I know him because it'll give it away too much. But he sells books at conventions.
Okay.
He sells 1,800 books a show, at least. 1,800 books a show. Has a newsletter, all this stuff. His Kickstarters are usually set at about, I think, $4,000. And he struggles to make that $4,000. Yeah.
No, that's weird.
Because when he sells books at shows, the way he sells books is very carnival barky, which is not my type of sale. I cannot do it. It makes my skin crawl. But he stands in front of his table. He calls you out. You come over there, and he'll sell everything to you. And a lot of times, people don't like that. It gives you like an icky feeling.
Right.
And so they'll buy whatever and then just run away, which is also why other vendors don't like him very much because of that as well. Because people just skedaddle as soon as they evacuate the area.
Okay.
And so it's one of those things where he's asked me a few times as well. He's like, I don't understand. He's like, I sell all these books. I have a newsletter. I don't know how many people are on his newsletter,
Right.
but he always struggles to make that goal. Whereas, my goal's higher. I don't sell nearly that many books at shows, not even close. If I sold 1,800 books at a show, I'd probably die of a heart attack on the spot.
Yeah, you probably don't even take it.
I
That's
don't
what
even
I'm saying.
take 1,800
You don't
books
have
to that show.
1,800,
I
yeah.
don't even take them with me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's just sort of a different way of doing things. There's what's the saying? There's many ways to skin a cat. I tend to find as
Let's not
long
hurt
as
the
you are
cats.
not, depends on the cat. If it's Charles, if Charles was a cat, you skin a cat.
Hey, wait a minute.
What?
now.
So
What?
Sounds good.
it just depends on what you think you can do, I would say. Whatever you think you could comfortably cover, especially depending on how much time you're willing to put into it. Because I said I plan a year out, but when the Kickstarter launches, even the book says it, this should be a full-time job that you're not getting paid for.
Right.
It's
right.
40 hours a week. You should be, social media posting every single day,
Yeah.
reaching out to people. Because the way Kickstarter works, almost every Kickstarter works the exact same way. A lot of money up front and then nothing for like 20 days, 28
Right.
days, and then a lot of money on the back end.
Yeah.
Mine are typically not that way. Mine's a
Oh.
lot of money up front and then a pretty reasonable amount of money throughout the month and then another little jump at the end. And the
Okay.
reason for that is I bug every single human being on my phone, Instagram friends list, and Facebook friends list individually. I message them and I will tell them about the Kickstarter. I don't say back it. I'll say, hey, I'm doing a
Hey.
Kickstarter. If you'd be interested in it, here's the link. If you know somebody that'd be interested in it and you
Right.
can share it with them, that'd be amazing too. No pressure, whatever. The only time I don't do that is when I pull up the message and the last message I sent them was, hey, I'm doing a Kickstarter. And I'm like, never mind. Not
Yep.
sending them a message.
I
You
put
just say
that over
happy
there.
birthday or something.
Yeah, I recall this last year because it was timing of, you've changed the timing of the different Kickstarters, and like the first year is right at my tax return season because I do mine early, and so that was easy. And every year after that, I was like, okay, some money's coming in around the time this thing ends. Let me try to plan for it. I believe I got a text from you about 5 days out. You're like, hey, boo boo, are you gonna like feed me or what? I'm coming. But
Cool your
something to
jets,
point out
sir.
Yeah.
is, okay, on the surface of Kickstarter, right? It says your first year goal was like 6,000. You made 8,000. But did you make 8,000?
No.
No,
So
I'm not even talking about the 8%.
No. So part of the 8,000, like I said, one guy was backed at $1,000. He never paid. But Kickstarter didn't take that out of the 8,000 total as it shows. So then already right there, it's only 7,000. And then there was a couple other backers that were like $50, $25, something like that. So I think in the end, it was like $1,250 about that I didn't actually make in that Kickstarter, but it doesn't
Oh.
say that. It just still
Keeps-
reads as $8,000 or whatever it is.
It's 11,959.
For the first one?
I think that's chapters 1 through 3.
Chapters 1
That's
through
the
3 is the last one I
That's
just
the
did.
newest one.
Okay, so they put them in reverse order. Tyra's crazy. Please ignore her.
No worries.
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1, there you go.
Although
But,
it is slightly confusing to say chapter 1 through 3.
well, so I used to do, so the first two I did, it was just chapter 1, then chapter 2. And I keep noticing as I look at Kickstarters, whenever it's like the next one in a series, people do the 1 through whatever. So I was like, all right, I guess there's a reason for that. Because I'll get a lot of questions like, do you have the other books in here too?
Right.
And it's like, all right, well, here you go. Now it's dead obvious, 1 through 4, that sort of a thing. And so in terms of the money, also, what you don't factor in is your costs for doing the Kickstarter. So for instance, that first Kickstarter, I made a lot of mistakes in terms of spending too much money on things like stretch goals. Like one of the stretch goals I had was a hat, which is way too expensive to have as a stretch goal. They were nice hats, but still, like, so that, ate into what I made in the end.
and
And
that
then your
was-
shipping cost eats into that because, like I said, it was included in the amount collected. So the shipping comes out of that 8,000 after they take the 8% or whatever. So you don't get all the money in that sense. And I'll tell you this story: there's a couple comic book creators that I know, great guys, and I went on their podcast, and Constructing Comics is their show, and they said, "Hey, you set your goal at $6,600, I think is what I had it as, and you made $8,000. That's awesome. You made a profit." I said, "No, I didn't." And they said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "How much do you think it cost me just to do the book and the Kickstarter? How much do you think it cost me? Not even shipping."
Tyra, how much?
That first book, how much do you think it cost me to do the book?
Complete. It's color, right? How many
Yes.
pages?
Yep.
72.
Pages.
Oh,
No,
And there were
First book was not 72
two covers.
pages.
There were 2 covers.
2 covers, 72. So I would say that it cost you to print those at least probably
Print and production, the whole
print and
cost
production. Oh,
of making them. Because again, I'm the writer. I'm paying everybody else.
right. You're cheap. It's
Yes.
everybody, and the others are it had to cost you around $20 a book.
Oh, you're saying okay? You're going per
Yeah,
book.
I went
I'm
per
giving
book.
you total cost.
Yeah, no, I need to know because it's
I
still
order
going to cost
1,000
you.
copies.
You order 1,000 copies, so I bet that cost you. I'm thinking. Give me a minute. You got to pay an artist and a letterer, right?
And a
Yeah.
colorist.
And a colorist. Oh, sugars.
And
And,
an
an
editor.
editor.
Mm-hmm.
I bet it cost you.
Yeah, I'm the only one in the whole process that doesn't get paid. I pay to be a part of this process.
You get your name in the book. That's all you care.
I'm executive
25,000.
producer. I appreciate it.
You're really close. It actually
You are
cost
very
me
close.
22,000
I'm pretty.
for the first book. 21.5 or 22.5. I forget.
Yeah.
The second book cost me 23.5. So it was right around that same book. But the third book was 96 pages, and that cost me over $30,000. And this fourth book is also going to cost me over $30,000.
It needs to be a part 1 and 2, man.
Okay.
You're thinking of chapter 5. That's different.
5.
So-
Never mind.
So
Yeah.
okay, so here's one of my key takeaways from this is that you are not raising money to be able
To do it.
Does it even cover the cost of the number of
Oh, to cover the cost of the printing?
yeah.
Yes, it does. So to print 1,000 copies, I use Print Ninja, and because I've printed through them so many times, I get a little bit of a discount and an
Okay.
overrun.
Okay.
So I believe it's around for 1,000 copies. It's around $6,000.
Okay, so about $6 a book.
Yeah,
Okay. So what you're doing really for the Kickstarter is using it to help you cover the cost of the artist and the editor and all those other
yeah. Just
extra
recoup
things.
a little bit of money
that.
back. Yeah,
So that you have that money coming in before you are actually selling it. So when
Yeah.
you sell it, you're obviously making money back, and that's helping you repay yourself.
sure.
But this is helping you be able to not take all of your money that you may not have.
Yes.
Or,
Yeah,
or
I don't
a
have
credit
kids.
card.
So literally, this is where all my money goes, is into the projects. But like you said, each Kickstarter gets a little bit better, Kickstarter just added a new feature called late pledges. So for those
Ooh.
pesky people who will message me a month after the Kickstarter's over and say, "Oh, are you
Right.
still doing that Kickstarter?" It's like, technically, yes. You could go over and back, and I think you get charged right away when you do it that way.
Yeah, I think so too.
So,
So I'm going back to chapter 1, and it has a button on the Kickstarter to buy a copy here.
and that so when you do the
That takes me
Kickstarter,
over. Yeah, that takes me over to your store and your page.
yes. So when you do a Kickstarter, like that button is normally, I think, back this project or something like that.
Mhm.
And then when it's closed, you can set it to whatever you want.
Oh, nice.
So-
Okay.
For me, I usually have it once it's over, I set it to go to my store.
Yeah.
If it's the one of the books that's already out, it obviously just goes to that copy. But if it's not out yet, it's a pre-order page for that book. So you could buy it and then I'll ship it once I get it. That sort of a thing.
Okay.
But yeah, so then it gives people a way to sign up for it in case they missed out on the Kickstarter. Last year, or the last Kickstarter that I did, I actually had a Google form that it would send them to. And like if they wanted to sign up for the Kickstarter late, they could go and sign. And I ended up getting an extra I think $2,000 that way, something like that. Which didn't have the fees of Kickstarter because it was outside of Kickstarter. So that was all just my money.
Yeah, no, that's not bad at all. We'll take that in a bag of chips.
Yeah. So it ended up working out. So that Kickstarter ended up being about $13,000 or so. So
okay. And as we now know, that doesn't cover hardly any of the cost, but at least gives you enough your credit card is only semi-crying.
So I don't use my credit card. I just all out of my bank. Just
okay. So the day job is funding.
Yes, my day job pays for this job.
Every book is separated by a full year. Yeah. So, like book 1 came out, and then he waited a whole year, did everything, then started Kickstart book 2. You know, he's working on it, but it takes so he spreads out the costs over time.
So
and he works. How many cons did you do last year? 20.
This year I have 25. Okay. Last year I had 23. The year before that I think I had 26 or 27.
So question, do you feel like you're getting your bang for your buck out of your cons?
Depends on the con. Because I'm fairly new to cons, you don't always know what you're getting when you sign up for cons.
Right.
And with this year, things are really wonky in terms of, you know, with the economy and everything else, you really don't know what you're getting. And then even if a con's really good, so for instance, Charles knows this, there was a con I went to last year, made over $1,000 at that con, which is good for me.
Right.
And then this year I made 40% of what I made at that same con.
Ow.
And there was nobody there. Like, just nobody showed up to the con this year. The attendance was super low. They had good celebrities, but attendance was super low. Nobody knows why. So it's one of those things where you just don't know what you're going to get. There's a few shows where I know it's like a guarantee it's going to be a good show. MagFest, always my best show. Like, it's ridiculous. It's a captive audience. There's 25,000 people for 4 days. It's the same. Like, they're going to come by the table some point in the 4 days.
You're going to get them.
Yeah. Grand Rapids, another one. Dragon Con, I get to do a single room for 3 hours where I sell. And that's nice.
For Comic Alley. Yeah.
No, because A, I don't have the time, and B, it's just hard to get into to Artist Alley at Dragon Con.
It is. When you give up your slot, you have to fight to get back.
Yep. So, but yeah, there's like the literature track does like a little room for 3 hours on Friday.
It's the Fantasy Lit track. It's the Fantasy Gather, I believe.
Yes, the Fantasy Gather. That's right.
And it's bigger now because she got a bigger room. That's Seska.
It gets bigger every year. Oh, yeah. Seska is great.
Seska is awesome.
And she does something really smart, which I always tell digital. I've been telling digital media, which is at the end, like while that's going on, she tells everybody, get on your phone right now and comment, we need a bigger room.
Oh, yeah.
So then you have hundreds of people all saying, we need a bigger room.
That's not how it works. All we have to do is ask for. I did that rookie move too when I first took over my track at Dragon Con, but that's not how you get a bigger room.
Hey, every
she
year
got
we
a bigger room.
Because she asked for it and people showed up last year. That's what, not because of the feedback. All right, so Dennis, shameless plug. You tell stories constantly about each individual con and the ins and outs of how you do the Kickstarter, how you write the book. You're fully transparent for a slight cost. It's over at patreon.com/HiveheadStudios, and there is probably 4 years of recordings.
Yeah, I think
going back to the first book.
We're up to episode like 150 something, I think.
Oh my!
And we only record once every like 2.5 months.
Sorry, I'm wrong.
We do it all one day.
There's 119 episodes out. But yeah, Charles and I sit down and record like 5 episodes at a time, and then I'll put them out one a week. Because I'll record like this is what happened this week as like an update, and then I'll be like, all right, next on to the second half of our episode, and then it's whatever Charles and I were talking about as I cut it up. So,
which is a lot of these stories.
So can I make you laugh?
Sure.
So I know you said like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
I thought you said like. L-I-K.
That's the
and subscribe.
Play on it, yeah.
And I did not get that it was a pun, and now I do, and now I feel very blonde, like it's blonder than I usually feel, which I usually feel pretty blonde.
It's all right.
So there. So how have you found your Patreon to be? Because we're hoping to do some fun stuff on Patreon.
So the like in Patreon, I don't have a whole lot of movement towards. I did hire a social media person for my own stuff, and some point in the near future, we're going to start to focus more on trying to drive people towards the Patreon.
Okay.
I get I get people every now and then. Like last year, I think the last new one I got was December. I met somebody at a convention. They read the book, they loved it, and they said, "I want to give you more money. I don't care how it is. Here you go." And they just started doing it that way. So it just depends. I don't promote the Patreon very, very much. So
key. Yeah.
it's one of those things. The Botch Patreon is obviously the one, most of our stuff goes into in terms of time, effort, and whatnot. That one's, much, much better than, my personal Patreon. The personal Patreon is real simple anyways. It's literally $3. That's the only tier. And you get a Discord access and you get a podcast. So it's pretty good for $3 a month.
Yeah, no, not bad. We'll take that.
Yeah.
You get you for $3 a month.
That's
and
right.
and the others.
Yes. Well, yeah. And the others being Charles mostly. Other than Twice. Which people said those were the best episodes we ever did.
No, they did not. All right, look. So what was something you tried on Kickstarter? You thought this will never work, and it was like the thing people loved.
Something I would try on Kickstarter that I thought would never work and that people ended up loving. Well, so the jersey thing I was very unsure about. I thought it'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get a lot of backers, but I get a lot of comments on the jersey when I go to cons from other creators, from people who are attending the shows. I'll end up finding out a lot of those creators then get their own damn jerseys made. See Charles McFall.
I know. I want to be awesome together jersey.
You could get it.
We need
I'm
to do
surprised he
one of
hasn't already made one of those, to be honest.
It's
we're
the time of
getting there.
life.
If I could recoup, if I get some ROI on liking, I'm saving it all, Tyra. We're saving it all for my 10% when Netflix signs the deal. We're co-executive creators on that show, and I get my 10% then. But until then, I'm paying him to be a part of all this.
It's fair.
But yeah, no, they're good and they're great. I really actually need an affiliate code with OYO and see if they'll even spot it, because I've sold a bunch of jerseys off of
You
these
have.
jerseys. Like,
Oh yeah, they have an
people are like,
affiliate.
oh, where'd you get that? And I'm like, right here. It's on the
They have an
right here.
they have an
They have
affiliate code.
Pearl code, yeah.
I need to get that because I've especially in the drag queen world with DJs, they're like, oh my god, and I know 3 or 4 of them have gone and bought their own jerseys from there.
Yeah, I can try and find the email where they told me about it, and I can send it to you. I don't remember if you have to message them about it. I forget. Like I said, it was a long time ago that I found out that they actually have a referral link. But I'll let you know when I dig through my emails to try and find out what they said.
And all I want in sponsorship is 1 to 2 jerseys a year. That's nothing, man.
Yeah.
That is nothing for them to sponsor me.
Oh, yeah.
So I really need to talk to them.
But
Yeah,
I would
the
say
jerseys.
that's probably the one thing that I'm surprised people like it as much as they do. They don't necessarily back because it is a higher level, so it's not the easiest amount of money for people to back at. But people really do love that jersey, which I'm surprised how much people dig it. And like I said, every show I go to, I at least get somebody who comes up to me and asks me about the jersey or wants to talk about the jersey or something like that. So while it doesn't necessarily have a bunch of backers, it does seem to have an awful lot of very good conversational starter.
And good promotion. I mean, Charles wears that thing everywhere.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's great. The only thing I'll be wary about is your color choice, because depending on what town you're in, they think it's a different jersey than what it is, and they might get a little testy.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Hey, it's Chiefs colors right now for me. Who cares?
Yeah.
How'd that game go?
You know?
Oh, hey, we don't talk politics or religion
sorry
here.
about
And football's right in the middle of both. So, so what's something you did on Kickstarter that failed miserably?
Okay. So there was one thing I did on the second Kickstarter, and to my own sadness, I never did do it. I never gave it to people.
Aww.
Granted, the only people who backed at those tiers I talked to, and they were like, it's fine, I don't care anyway.
Oh, I think they're talking about,
Yeah, it was an audio drama version of the book.
Oh, that's
where
yeah.
it was going to be, I had all these different podcasters that I'm friends with that I separated all the lines and I, told them here's their pages and all this stuff. And it just became too hard to coordinate that many people. Like, even though they could just record it on their own, they didn't have to record with me.
Right.
It just turned into a whole big hubbub and I couldn't get everybody to do their parts. So I have random pieces of audio, but, I didn't get the whole thing done. At this point, I'm just like, so I just cut it out of the future Kickstarter. The first Kickstarter, because one thing I always tell people when you're doing a Kickstarter, try to do stuff that you can personally do.
Right.
So as a writer, you're a bit limited. So for the first Kickstarter, I had D&D campaign. Like, I'll write you like a one-off that you could play with your friends. Nobody cared. Absolutely nobody cared. Anybody who backed at that tier said, I don't want it. Keep it. So that was something that I said, all right, screw it, and just never put it in again. So yeah.
So you traded. What has been your most successful like stretch goal or tier that you think we're surprised at?
I think the most, obviously the standard physical copy is probably the most popular in terms of that just gets the most backers. But above that, I would say usually the thank you tier is right there as well in terms of you get your name in the book and you get an enamel pin based on the book. I don't know. I haven't decided on which. I have a bunch of enamel pins I'm planning, but I don't have one exactly figured out for which one I'm going to do for this particular Kickstarter. I have a bunch of punny stuff, like a werewolf hanging in a tree. And it says, it's Lycan, not Lycant.
Oh, Lord.
And then there's a funny one that I thought of called Unawerewolf, and it's like a werewolf with like what's the opposite of cross-eyed? But like just eyes going opposite directions.
It's
I don't know.
cockeyed.
Cockeyed.
Yeah.
So it's a werewolf with
Wall-eyed,
cock eyes and like a little lip tongue hanging out, and it just says Unawerewolf.
So it's Weasel from Suicide Squad, guy.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But a werewolf.
Yeah.
And other pins and stuff like that. There was a whole bunch of puns that I came up with. So Multicolored Mind's actually helping me with them. So it's funny enough. But I would say that tier probably also. But each of the tiers, it just depends. Like I started doing 3D printed minis. People really dig those, especially the cases that they come in, because I figured out
cool.
that the when you buy dice at a game shop, they come in like a little plastic case.
Cube that needs to go to the trash.
It's perfect for minis. It fits a mini perfectly. So I
should have saved all of mine for you.
Yeah. Well. Also, if you try to buy those things, they're like $3, $4, or $5 on Amazon or whatever. But I actually talked with Chessex while I was at Dragon Con, and I got their like vendor deal or whatever. So I get them much cheaper than normally would. So it's only like $1.50 a pop or something like that. And so that's how I package it up to like safely ship it on its way. But like the 3D printed stuff, people really dig. I got more 3D printed. They're Egyptian gods for this next book.
Nice. I'm all for that.
3D printed statues. So there's like an Anubis statue that we're doing this time around. I would say typically people don't really care too much about the t-shirts.
Okay.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. It's hit or miss.
Contrary people. How dare they?
Exactly.
So do we know who Multicolored Mind is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I don't.
Multicolored Minds, our newest follower on Facebook.com/BeAwesomeTogether.
Boom.
We need your help. We
need your help.
Followers.
We need followers.
We just shifted over.
And it's a problem. Though we did find out today, just in announcements, we might actually be on our own YouTube channel next week.
Oh, nice.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. There's a weird thing to activate it, and finally after 3 weeks of me going, why is it not working? I went directly to the source, and there's a countdown now. So
sounds about right.
We'll see.
Oh, where did my mouse go? There. Okay. Do we have another question?
Nah, it was just Earth Station Boo saying, "Yay!"
I love you, Earth Station Boo. So, what is the one thing you wish you knew when you started that you would tell somebody who was going to go do a Kickstarter?
Pick rewards and stretch goals that do not cost you a lot of money up front, because it defeats the whole purpose of what you're doing. And I already mentioned the hats as being a stretch goal. That was a big.
Don't do that.
That is a nope. Don't do clothing for a stretch goal, because stretch goals are just free rewards that people get,
Right.
as long as they're doing, physical rewards. I would say paper goods are your best bet for stretch goals. Postcards, 11 by 17 prints, things that like your cost is only going to be like $1 or
Minimal.
something like that. Pretty minimal. Don't do t-shirts. Don't do hats unless you're like getting like $1 million. Even then, you don't want to do that because you're then doing stretch goals for however much to do that. So you're eating into your costs.
And also your time.
Yes, also your time.
Oh, I have a question. Go ahead.
Okay. The other item that I messed up with was a t-shirt. So I had done glow-in-the-dark t-shirts for the second Kickstarter. And they were quoted to me at a certain price.
Oh,
so that's how much I charged for them.
Oh,
and then when I actually ordered the t-shirts, they were a lot more expensive. So I lost $10 on that tier for everybody who bought that tier. So it was like, well, that just defeated the purpose.
Ouch.
So I know, don't do that again. So most things I get quoted out way ahead of time as well. So for instance, like this Kickstarter, I have a bunch of new rewards. I found out how much they cost. So one of the other things I do is a spreadsheet, and I'll say, okay, what is the cost per this item?
That's
Boom.
important. Yes.
And then I can say, this is how much I'm going to charge for that in this, either as an add-on or as a reward goal, whatever. So everything's figured out in terms of each reward. I have it listed out. This is how much that reward costs. This is how much profit I'm making off of that, so on and so forth. That I wish I had known that going in. One thing I will say that is a good thing to know, I knew it because I had that book that I talked about, the Kickstarter secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Plan your shipping correctly, because, for instance, there was a Kickstarter. I don't remember exactly what they made. It was some sort of device for a kitchen. Made $1 million. They didn't put shipping in. They went bankrupt. They couldn't even ship all the items out because they, their margins were too small as it was, so they couldn't pay for shipping for all those items. So they ended up going bankrupt, and then not everybody got their Kickstarter items.
Was that the Coolio?
I don't remember.
There's a cooler that had like a speakers in it and a drink mixer, and they hightailed a lot of people.
Oh, okay. So the easiest way to get around that, you got two options. One, you buy yourself a little scale that you can have in your kitchen, and you make fake packages based around roughly what the weight of whatever it is for each reward goal is going to be. Put it on your scale. You figure out the dimensions. You figure out the weight. And then you use a program like Go Shippo or Pirate Ship, something like that, and you just plug the dimensions in. And then you pick the furthest point away in the country. Like for me, I'll pick Alaska. Okay. And I'm like, how much would it cost to ship this item to there? Cool. That's what my shipping cost is going to be for that reward tier for domestic. How much does it cost to ship it to Afghanistan or Australia? Whatever it is. Cool. That's my international shipping for that level.
Okay.
So on and so forth. The other thing you could do is, if you don't want to flip the money for scale, is you could do what I did for my first Kickstarter, which is make all those fake packages and then go to the post office and make them figure it out for you, which agitates everybody, but hey, is what it is.
So do you do, like, I know that some of the people that I know, what? I have a question.
I know you have a million questions. We're at an hour and 20 minutes.
Well, okay, but this was
Pick
important.
One. All right.
Okay, no, this is my last question.
Okay.
Because it deals with the end. Postage. So, like, I know that some places will hire out to mail it.
You can, yeah.
But you actually mail your own.
Yeah, so it's a big giant mess in my house when that happens. So I have like multiple tables set up where it's like, okay, I have a spreadsheet where it's like this reward tier gets this. And then each name as I do it, I put the stuff in the package, I sign the books, I package it up, I put it on the scale, I print out, I have a thermal printer. So It's just for printing labels. So slap it on there, the do not bend, and then put it on the pile. Speaking to that, something I wish I knew for the first Kickstarter that I know now, if the post office tells you can drop all your packages off at the back and they'll be mass scanned, don't trust them, because if they lose one of them, they're not going to pay you back for it anyways, which is what happened to me. They lost a one of the packages was over $100. They said, "Oh, you just didn't bring it." I said, "No, I would notice a big white package somewhere in my house." But so that's why when I go to the post office, I make them scan every package individually, one at a time. And like they get real pissy. I'm like, "Hey, if I could trust you not to lose the packages, I would do it your way. But here's the first box. I'll go get the other 3 or 4 out of the car. Welcome to hell."
Yeah.
Just don't go at like the most busy time.
Oh yeah. If you can go to like a rural one where there's not that much going on, great. But the problem with that is if you have your address set up to like a PO box and it's not at that rural location, they don't get any credit for shipping those packages out. So, yeah, I did not know that. So like my PO box is set for Gettysburg, and if I use the post office in Artsville, which is way smaller and way quieter, they won't get any credit for shipping those packages out.
Well, that sucks.
Yep.
Okay. Because I'm getting do you have an actual P.O. box? Because I'm getting a digital P.O. box. Have you heard of
I have an
such
actual P.O. box because
Okay.
I basically just use the same P.O. box that Botched has.
Oh, okay. So you're getting double duty. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that postage thing. I think you could probably do pictures of your abode with all the things spread around. Maybe you could go
I have
OnlyFans
pictures
with
of
that,
them.
and it would work.
Oh,
that
sure,
would,
yeah.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, why not?
I think you should go to the post office at lunch break on a Wednesday. On
Oh,
the
yeah.
13th when bills are due on the 15th, just
Exactly.
to do it then. Yeah. So Dennis,
These are good
where
plans. I like these
can
plans. That's why
where
you're the
can they-
idea guy on this project, Charles.
where can they find you if they want to know more about Kickstarter or Lycan?
To make life easy, I have a Linktree/Hivehead Studios. I believe I have everything on there in terms of my Instagram,
Yeah.
my Facebook, the website. Also has a link to the Kickstarter sign-up page as well. You can direct message me at hiveheadstudios@gmail.com or, on the website, or message me through Instagram, whatever you want to do. I'm always happy to send that, to share that book, the Kickstarter Secrets. I have the PDF. Literally, you just tell me what email to send it to, and I share it with everybody because I figure, somebody shared it with me for free, so I share it with everybody else for free as well.
It's not for sale, right?
That book is for sale, yeah. I think so. But again, someone gave it to me, so I give it to others.
Oh my. Okay.
But anyways, and
Hey.
and also if people just have questions about
Can you send
Kickstarter,
it to
I'm
me anyway?
happy- Yeah. if you-
So look, we're working on our Patreon, patreon.com/beawesometogether show is that one. And Tyra's been putting up some really cool posts
I've been
there.
putting
And
up stuff.
the shows go up.
Nobody's commenting, but I'm trying. You people
Yeah.
get out there. Talk about our question of the week. I have no idea what it's going to be this week, but there'll be a question of the week that drops on Thursday.
And right now it's all
Thank you,
free.
Bobby.
You can join for free. And we will be getting some paid tiers up there in the near future. But right now it's just build community and let's go have some fun there. Then on Instagram it's at Be Awesome Together Show, which you've also been doing a lot of different promotions and
I
things.
keep trying.
You
Come,
do, sure.
like, follow.
And the big one we need right now is facebook.com/Be Awesome Together. We have to get 100 followers and be on Facebook for 60 freaking days before we can go live there. So I go and I post the videos after I edit everything. It gets reposted on Facebook and on the YouTube channel, Be Awesome Together. So
Please help.
we're getting there.
Help a brother and sister out, please.
I just
right.
followed.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next week, what are we doing, Charles? We didn't talk about our sneak peek.
Next week, we've got Josh, the dad from Uploads of Fun, coming on to talk about creating content and shows with your family while keeping them safe. And it's going to be and they're going to be our guests, DragonCon's guests at DragonCon for Digital Media Track this year. So that's going to be a blast. So yeah, it's next week. And then 2 weeks, if we don't forget, which we might.
Or we
we're gonna do
don't book
part
somebody
2.
else.
Yeah, we're going to do part 2 of the apps and software that make your life better. And so we'll talk about the ins and outs. So we had literally had a whole 50% of the page that we did not get to.
Yeah, no, we got a lot. So I just want to shout out Bed Carrot Studios. Hey, and
Yes.
Kickstarter would be great for you. And Earth Station Boo, hello, and I'll see you tomorrow night too. Anyway, that's a little private convo.
Inside baseball. Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
figure out my whole enamel pen thing, because you're saying have the stuff done before you do a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do the Kickstarter to see if people will be interested in getting the owl pins, which I could do a whole different Kickstarter level of KSU and just do KSU colors on my jersey on the owl.
Okay.
And I think there will be people interested, but I gotta get them. So it's tough. I'm working on enamel pens. I even asked Chad over here, my research assistant, if I could make enamel pens at home. That sounds difficult.
Oh, okay.
But
Wait a minute.
It's illegal to make enamel pins at home.
Is it?
Yes, because the
Send it
machine
to me
required
anyway, Dennis.
the machine that you need to make enamel pins also makes coins. So the U.S. does not allow you to make enamel pins in the U.S. The only people who can make enamel pins in the U.S. is the U.S. government. So if it says made in the U.S., it's a lie. They basically make them someplace else and then slap that sticker on it when they come overseas.
So multicolored mind. I do pens. I got all the pen knowledge. We need pen knowledge. And
Right.
people do love polls. Maybe we'll do a poll for the question of the week.
That would be cool. I like. Never mind. So hey, multicolored
Bad,
mind.
Charles.
If you email us, beawesometogether@gmail.com. I would love to talk to you.
Yeah.
And figure that out. So because I've got some really cool enamel pen designs I know will sell. I just got to get that middle ground of having them and selling them. Anyway. All right, Tara, where can they find you on the web?
My name is Tyra Burton, and you can find me at tyraburton.com for all your marketing, social media, digital media needs. Thanks.
And you can find me over on Linktree, linktr.ee/RGOP42. That is everything you need to know. It's got all my YouTube stuff. And I've been doing the caffeinations this
I love
last
the
week.
caffeinations.
So I've actually been getting some new follows and new likes and some good feedback interaction. And that's what I like. I like when people play with me and talk to me. So that's on TikTok and Instagram, all under Rock Got a Podcast.
As long as he's not playing with himself, I guess.
You know,
Anyway.
Dennis. So
Thanks
you
for
won't
having me,
catch-
guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dennis. Now that we've got banned.
That's right. I mean, that's pretty tame for what Botch does. on
All
the
right.
show.
Everybody, we'll see you
Not
next week with
much.
Uploads of Fun.
Bye, y'all. Flying turtle.
Surf the chaos. You'll enjoy the ride.
Be a turtle.
Be a turtle.
Now I gotta get the turtle back on the mic stand. Hang on.